Slots happening, people. We are back with the Redmen TV for another watch along on this sunny Sunday down in Liverpool. Liverpool have already fielded one team this afternoon that went and played Sevilla, won 4-1 quite comfortably as well. In the end, it was a good performance at midday, and we are now back to take on Las Palmas FC this evening. Again, still a brilliant day. It's beautiful here in Liverpool, and I'm here joined with James this afternoon. You've tagged in for Steve Hall.
Oh, yeah.
He's rushed off to get himself over to Sheffield this evening because he's got some gladiators to go and see. So you're joining us now. You did manage to watch the first game.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts? How do you feel?
Very impressed, as I have been for pretty much the whole of pre-season. I was in here the other week and I said, well, the thing with pre-season is if you don't do that well in all the games, you can just say, well, it's pre-season, we're experimenting. But if you do well, then you start getting excited. And I've maybe getting slightly too excited because I've loved some of the attacking play. I thought all our goals today were brilliant, especially that third one, all the way from the goalkeeper through to the other end of the pitch. Diaz, very, very excited about the season to come and excited to see what this kind of unofficial second team can do in this game.
Yeah, and I think it's quite interesting as well from my perspective. We got so accustomed with Klopp that, you know, you take the Prem games, you'd understand, you know, you start on 11, there'd be some questions around who would fit into the midfield at some times, but more often than not, you kind of pick Liverpool's teams from one week to the other. And then you'd get into like League Cup games, you'd have some of the fringe players coming in, but there wouldn't be a massive difference in the style of play. The approach from the top to bottom, all the way down to the academy, was very robust. There was very much a style of play there that was ingrained as part of the Liverpool Football Club, as opposed to just a starting 11. It's going to be really interesting to see if Arne Slot kind of picks up the reins in that respect and carries on that kind of mantle, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think he may well do that, but in his own way.
Yeah.
I like the way that, you know, I've been lucky enough to see the under-18s a couple of times at the AXA. You could see that Klopp identity going through all the age groups. It was there. They play the attacking fullbacks. Yeah. You know, they'd always have at least one centre back who was good at coming out with the ball. Goalkeeper the same, kind of mimicking Alisson. So maybe we're eventually going to see that from Slots with you know, through the age groups and stuff like that. But I've been pleased with the slight tweak of formation. I think it suits the players that we've got more. And I think we've got quite a lot of versatile players. You've got the likes of Szoboszlai, who, you know, I think a lot of people think he could play in one of those deeper two roles. Gravenberg has done that deeper role. But I've also seen, not necessarily right-hand side Szoboszlai, but earlier on today, he was pulling over to the right quite a bit, combining with Salah, stuff like that. I think the number 10, if you like, will suit somebody like Harvey Elliott well. So I think I've been really pleased with what I've seen so far. And whether they replicate that through the age groups or not, I don't know. But you feel like they probably will do.
Thoughts on the news of transfers this week? You know, a number of outgoings are now starting to pick up a little bit of pace in terms of a little bit of business that Liverpool are trying to recoup a little bit of money, get some finances in, maybe helps us with a bit of player power in terms of being able to attract and make our own incomings. What are your thoughts on the lads that are going out the door?
I think I don't mind it. I've been surprised with some of the younger players. Like there was one earlier today with Ben Doak saying, "Oh, a loan, but maybe a permanent deal," which I was quite surprised about. Same with Bobby Clark. I think they've all, you know, a lot of these young players are players that we think could, with a fair wind, do well, and if not necessarily be first name on the team sheet, at least be a good contributor into a 25-man Premier League squad. So I've been a little bit surprised, but then I don't mind it if say the likes of Doak, Gordon, Clark, etc., all, you know, Vandenberg, I don't know, all go out on a permanent deal. I don't mind it as long as they're being kind of big dogs and, you know, saying like, well, we don't need Doak and we don't need Gordon because we're going to sign another forward. We're going to sign an Anthony Gordon or whoever, you know. We're going to have 6 good options and we're going to oh, don't worry about Van den Berg going because we've got a really good centre half that's coming in us. If they make a couple of moves like that, then I don't mind so many going out. It's just if they do that and then don't necessarily replace them. I think Carvalho, literally just seeing him scoring his goal against Manchester United there on the screen, I think he did quite well. But then I think the fee, the overall fee with the add-ons and all that is a good fee. So that can be, those funds can be put, if those funds can be put towards a really good attacking option, then I don't mind it.
Good. I think to be fair, I think with the outgoings, it is, a lot of them have been in and around the fringes for a couple of seasons, even under Klopp. And I think it's fair to say that at this point, the squad has got to such a healthy shape. Those lads need good seasons under the belt. They need to be playing games. They need minutes as much as possible. And Liverpool ultimately can't offer everybody minutes at this moment in time, especially with we're in a bit of a transition in terms of the management side of things. So then having players there that are only going to be on the fringes and only going to get minutes here and there doesn't really help them in their careers. It doesn't really progress them and help them kick on. So I think in terms of the business aspect of things, if we can still recoup good money for them, I think there is value in letting them either go on loan or obviously letting them go on a permanent deal like Carvalho. Because ultimately Liverpool need to have that strength and depth, but we need to have players that we can rely on to drop back into the starting 11 or drop into squad match day games and be a viable option for us, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think there's two ways of doing it. Like, I remember when Phil Foden was coming through at Man City in the first couple of seasons, and he won, I think it was the under-17 World Cup or one of the age group World Cups with England. There were loads of people going, this guy's a generational talent. And he didn't necessarily play in the first couple of years. He come in, make a kind of bit part appearances. People were going, City, what are they doing not sending him out on loan? But that's obviously paid off because Pep's said it's better for you to play in my system and come through and bit by bit increase your minutes and stuff like that. But also, I like, we've seen with Harvey Elliott and people like that, I like it when they go away and play a good season in a good league like the Championship or a league in Europe. So I think there's been a little, I don't know what the state of it is now, but a little bit of talk about, if we get Zubimendi, would Bajcetic go out on loan and stuff, which I'm excited to see Bajcetic actually really in this team. But then if Endo's determined to not leave, then if Bajcetic goes away and gets 30, 40 games, then I think that would do him the world of good. So, I feel like it could be a win-win. And what we don't want is, keeping these guys around and then they literally, a bit like Doak last season, play a handful of games and then maybe get an injury and it's a bit of a stall year for them. Because poor Cade Gordon's had like two and a half years like that. We don't want that for them. So I can see it either way, really. If they go out on loan or if they stay, as long as they're getting minutes if they stay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's Liverpool who's got to be smart on it, really. Obviously, you can't have too many going out the door and kind of leave the squad lacking that depth, really, because obviously Liverpool are still going to be in all four competitions. We're going to be challenging on as many fronts as possible. I know Arne Slot all want to see his best teams be able to play as many of the big games, so to speak, the Champions Leagues, the actual league games. But then, of course, you've got to manage the League Cup responsibly with, obviously, technically we've got to kind of defend it as well. So it's the ability to be able to do that as the lads are about to, they have come out already. Robertson is going to be the captain with the armband on there. And we are just about to kick off, ladies and gentlemen. So just before we do that, we will have a little scheduled break in about 30 odd seconds. But no, I do take your point there, James, and I think going forward, I think especially in the cup competitions, I would like to see some of those young prospects in and around the squad, just to be able to see if they've still got, if last year was a bit of a fluke or if they have been kicked on essentially in the last 12 months.
You forget how many there were, really. There's, James McConnell, Jayden Dan's unfortunately has got an injury. I know he was supposed to be going to Plymouth, who are losing, I think, when I was in the car. So maybe that was a bit of a good one to avoid. But nice to see Andy Robertson there, because I know he was
an injury doubt, so it's nice to see him making his way back into the team. But we are about 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes away. There's Nunes there's Gakpo. We'll see, interesting to see where he starts. But just before Liverpool do kick off and commence, ladies and gentlemen, please stick around. After this ad break, we will be back.
We interrupt this regularly scheduled broadcasting for a public service announcement. If you are a club legend at redmenplus.com, then every single month you have got the chance to win an incredible prize. And this month it is no more, no less than a signed Ian Rush shirt, 89.91, signed by the man, the legend himself, Mr. Ian Rush, the goal scoring machine, Goal Rush himself. You have to be in it to win it. Go over to redmenplus.com, sign up as a club legend, and you could win this incredible shirt. Back to your scheduled broadcasting.
Yes, people, welcome back. There it is. There we are, about just over a minute away from kickoff. Andy Robertson's there. I think we've just switched the teams round as well, as they just decided which ends we're going to kick off from. We've got a comment there. Does that one? Yeah, glad to see the Redmen TV back in for a new season. You never walk alone. There's a members chat there. James has been a member for 11 months. Thank you for continually supporting it. Yeah, it does look like COVID settings, doesn't it, really? with the empty crowd that is behind doors, closed doors, obviously. But it will be interesting to see how the lack of atmosphere really affects this game, because I felt like today I feel like it was a good start. Everybody seemed up for it. It was obviously a lovely day. It was nice to get back into Anfield. Obviously, people would have wanted to give Slot a strong welcome as his first game in charge at the helm. And this second one's obviously going to have a bit of a slightly different feel to it, but we'd still want to see the intensity and the level of performance that we was able to put in the first game.
Yeah. My main takeaway from watching Slot was I was just worried about his head. I found that there's a Liverpool bucket hat on the LFC website.
Like he could do with one, yeah.
Yeah, because Klopp is normally a baseball cap guy, but I could see Slot in the bucket hat. You know, he had to have his factor 50 on there, surely, didn't he? In that sun all day. I dress for this weather all the time, and 95% of the time it's not very nice. But today I've been proved right for once.
We love to see it. Right, Liverpool.
Meanwhile, there's a game going on.
Las Palmas in a yellow and blue kit, it looks like. Obviously, Liverpool at home still in the red kit today. It looks like Nunes is playing down through the middle. Gakpo out on the left. And it's not Harvey who's on the right for us there. It is Harvey Elliott, isn't it? Yeah, looks like Harvey Elliott there on the right. Putting a little bit of pressure, early pressure on.
I think Doak's a bit more withdrawn there, isn't he?
Be interesting to see how interchangeable that front three is.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just Harvey leading the press, but he seems to be ahead. He seems to be quite far forward at this point.
Oh, and
Las Palmas, decent little move there.
He seemed to be in already, playing well. He's tried to play it back forward through the lines. Well read by Ibu there. Well defended. And Liverpool are continuing that play now from the back mantra that we've seen so much in the first game, I should say. I feel like first half. Probably say that quite a lot.
Yeah. The first half of the day's action.
Yes. That works for me. I can land that one.
Possibly the last time we're going to see Nat Phillips in a red shirt. Although I've said this for about the last
2-3 years.
Yeah, every transfer window he gets linked with a move away.
And it's just Liverpool just giving away a throw-in.
Former Swansea and Sheffield United man Ollie McBurney is up front for Las Palmas, which I certainly wasn't aware that he'd moved. Ginger fella, I don't know how he's going to cope with the heat in the Canary Islands, but a nice, good
luck to him.
Nice way to earn a living. Good to see Darwin back as well.
Thomas Doughton says this lineup is a madness. Why? So we just played a full squad of pretty much first team players, and this is the strength that we've got to go into a second game. I feel like we're not doing too bad, really.
You could see, I mean, this team you would expect to beat, if it was in the League Cup or whatever, to beat a lot of sides.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So with the firepower alone up top, you've got Harvey, you've got Gakpo, you've got Nunes, all had off the back of relatively good seasons. All good, apart from Harvey was there. The other two had double digits, goals or assists. Endo a little bit sloppy in the centre of mid there. I noticed, give away the ball quite cheaply.
Yeah, just one of them where he needed to snap to it and intercept it straight away, but he didn't quite get his foot on the end of it. Interesting one for him. Is he playing for his future? I mean, it sounds, to all intents and purposes, like Slot said, look, I don't really fancy you, so if you want to go and play somewhere else, that's fine by me, but it also sounds like he wants to stay. He does have his limitations, but I thought he did well last year. It's another one of them. If he goes, great. I mean, they already turned down money from Marseille.
That 14 mil, was it?
Something like that, 14, yeah. 16. I mean, they'd be lucky to get the money back, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's more of his age. Yeah, they're not going to look to make a massive profit on it. I think it's more of his age than his ability there in terms of trying to recoup like-for-like money off the back of him. As Liverpool battling away there, but Las Palmas do come away with the ball. Be interesting to see, because we were so very, very clearly heavily possession based in the first game, and Sevilla didn't really seem to be able to get a foothold in terms of patterns of play into the early exchanges of the first game. Las Palmas have dealt with the approach from Liverpool a little bit better in the first 5 minutes. I'd say they've been quite comfortable on the ball.
They started quite well,
They've been passing it and spraying it about a little bit with a little bit of ease. Again, obviously, we are aware that this is a completely different Liverpool setup, and it has been mixed and matched for the benefit of the 2 games today. But there they are again. He's cut in. Ooh, he's went for the shot. I think it was Ibu that gets the block.
He's made a promising start, number 10 there. I'll look him up, because other than McBurney and the goalkeeper who used to play for Holland and Ajax, we don't know any of the players, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, Double Green's asking, do we need some signings, because that second team is something? I mean, I still think Liverpool are a couple of signings away from really feeling confident that they can challenge and dislodge Man City's stranglehold of the Premier League. But the strength and depth is promising regardless, because we're going to be in 4 competitions. So horses for courses, you're going to need bodies, and you're going to need players of a certain level to make sure that, you know, not only your favourites on paper, but you can expect a high quality performance when it comes to match days.
Well, if you look, if you know, we've got another quality option in at centre half, and that was Gomez instead of Nat Phillips. That back 5, Bradley, Robertson, and if it was Gomez and Canate and Kelleher, that's a pretty decent back 5. Do you
think Kelleher stays for one more season? He's the interesting one for me.
Yeah, I same with Nat. It feels like he's been, you know, rumoured with leaving for a long time, but they're obviously going to want a good fee. But so they should, because I think there's a good 14 maybe Premier League teams would improve with him in goal. Like, there's not many Premier League teams who've got a starting goalkeeper that's better than him. So but then they all, you know, they like to try and get top dollar, and it's whether they're pricing people out and stuff like that. Chance now for Liverpool on the right hand side. Bradley on the overlap. Oh,
that Nunes with like almost a scorpion kick.
It was a bit of an Ibrahimovic style acrobatic effort, but it was he couldn't get it anywhere near the goal.
It's Bradley gets the execution all wrong.
I don't know if Darwin's feeling any pressure, or whether I know they got to the final of the Copa America Uruguay, so he was late getting back, but Jota's started the last 2 or 3 games at centre forward. He's obviously
His finish today was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Fowler-esque. I think it's such a good natural finisher. Obviously there's the eternal question mark about keeping him fit. Gakpo was, be interesting. I feel like that first team, maybe with 1 or 2 exceptions, is going to be the team that's going to play against Ipswich next week. I wondered if there was a sniff of Gakpo getting in first choice down the left, because he looked very good in the Euros.
He staked the claim today. He definitely. Las Palmas again. Very good. They've got width. They're keeping that 10. Did you find out who that 10
Sorry,
was?
I distracted myself there.
No, it's okay, because he looks handy. He looks a bit of a handful at the moment. He's got 3 red shirts wrapped around him, and he still manages to find the pass.
Alberto Molero. Gonzalez. Only 20?
Is he? Yeah.
We could be doing a bit of a scouting mission here for Spanish under-21 international.
I'd say so far, though, in all fairness, Las Palmas have kept the ball a lot better than this Liverpool side at the moment. If you want to call it Liverpool B or whatever it is. But it doesn't mean that there's not multiple ways to win football matches. But at the minute, the possession-based stuff that we've seen in the first game, this Liverpool team are yet to replicate that within the first opening 10 minutes, I'd be safe in saying.
Yeah, Las Palmas haven't really carved Liverpool open, but they've had a few decent little moves.
They're finding space. They're finding areas of the pitch where Liverpool are a little bit light in numbers. Oh, who was that? Nat Phillips.
Yeah,
with a little bit of a wayward back pass towards Robbo. Doesn't really help him. But Liverpool again determined to play out from the back. They're being very disciplined in that respect. I think it was one of the things that was noted before. Canate in that position, in that role, he's going to have to become a lot better as a ball-playing centre-half because that's not been his strongest suit. He's got a lot of great attributes, but that playing out from the back and his passing is probably, he's a little bit more limited than the other ones that we've got in that area. So if he really wants to regain that position as the first choice centre-back in that slot, he's going to have to work on a couple of elements of his game.
It's a tough one with him because, I mean, we've all seen fantastic performances from him, brilliant last-ditch defending. But when the season was kind of tailing off at the end of last year, there were a few games where the opposition had literally just they'd be like, right, let Canate have it, and he'd have the ball for 10 seconds, and he's like, and then he'd just pass it 5 yards, and it's like, there's, they can all get, the opposition can then get set in the defensive shape and all that. I can see why Slot likes Kwanzaa, although Kwanzaa did make a bit of a mistake today, but hopefully get them out the way in the pre-season rather than the Premier League.
I'm right in saying Jones is in this 11 as well.
Yeah, but that's a kind of an instructive point because he's not really got the ball at all. He's playing on the left-hand side. It doesn't look as double pivoty as the other team. This number two. What's our man called? Number 10?
Gonzalez. I'm just going to call him Gonzalez.
There was a Gonzalez in that. Alberto Molero Gonzalez. A Cuban-Spanish professional footballer. There we go.
Okay. 20 years of age. He looks like a little bit of their go-to outball at the minute. Yeah. Whenever they've got that space over on their left-hand side, which is where our right back.
He's already played 110 games. He's in the Michael Edwards. Yeah. Sign him up.
He'll be in the data bank somewhere.
Yes, pretty much. Well, presumably he is, isn't he? I'm probably in the data bank somewhere. the lengths these go to. I'm not signing just to set everyone at ease.
It's just got a little bit fiery.
Yeah, I
as
didn't
well.
really see what happened there. Was it
flying into tackles?
Slightly late tackle, was it?
So looking at the squad as a whole and thinking of the players that we've seen last season going into this season, now everybody's at least had 12 months in a red shirt under the belt. Who are the players or players that you feel this is a really big pivotal season for them?
I think probably number one, Nunez. I think.
Okay.
I just remember. I remember when COVID was on, right, and it was one of the first times that you could visit other people or whatever. And Tom Dutton, formerly of this parish, the legendary Tom Dutton, I ended up chatting to him, and we were talking about Naby Keita, and Naby had already been at the club, I think, for 2 years, and he was going he just needs time. I was going, I don't know, but I do like him and all, and we ended up it was 3 years later or 2 seasons later.
Still having the same conversation.
Yeah, and I don't want that to happen with Nunez. So I feel like if he doesn't make that, but then it's tough with the likes of Jota, isn't it? But I feel like he needs to make that place his own. Really start that form in about kind of Christmas, January time last year, where, to be honest, I saw him at Anfield against Chelsea, and we were 3-0 up at half time. He hit the hit the bar with a penalty.
Yeah.
We could have been 5 or 6-0 up. And he actually missed a couple of chances as well as the pen, but he completely tore their defence apart. And after that game, I was like, you know what? I don't even mind that he's missing the chances because they just had no clue how to deal with it. Like, there was just they were finding him impossible to deal with. The problem for him at the end of the season was he was still having the bad misses, like the one against Everton. He just smashes straight at Pickford when he's got the whole of the goal to aim. It was a horrible match for everyone, that, unless you're a Blue. By the end of the season, he was having the sort of quite dodgy misses, but not actually really affecting the game. Like, I can't remember another thing he did in that Everton game, you know. So I think he's definitely got to be up there for me. I think
it's a big season for Jones.
Yeah, I was going to say the likes of Jones and Elliott is... I feel like...
Especially after missing out on the Euros, obviously both of them missed out on the Euros, and I think it was probably a little bit further away than Curtis Jones may have been at any real point. But I just think now, obviously, everything internationally is going to be geared up towards the World Cup and such. You've really got to now start... That England midfield is for all the talent that we have available. Obviously, I don't think Southgate made the most of it anyway at any point, really. But you've really got to start making yourself a player that every manager or any manager that's going to be the England manager is going to look at in that setup and think, you offer me something that none of the other lads do, so I need that. Irrespective of how often you'll get out a game on the pitch. Like the way Calvin Phillips was, Southgate's guy in the World Cup. They're having a skill set like that where you're like, I haven't got anybody else like you, so I need to take you.
Yeah.
He needs to find a way to kind of come into his own, I think is the right way of framing it for me this season personally.
I feel like I put Jones and Elliott in the same bracket, that if they didn't have an amazing season, I couldn't see them necessarily getting bombed out and you do see the odd little chat online of people who aren't having Jones and whatever. But they've been at the club long enough now. I like the pair of them.
Oh,
chance for Nunez.
Oh, he tries to cut it back. Oh, nearly an own goal, to be fair.
Yeah. I think I really like Elliott. I think in terms of
someone saying about Leslie.
Great ball by Endo if he's onside.
Less league goals than Chris Wood, no excuses.
Who was this? Sorry, Nunez.
I think that might be levelled at Nunez there.
Yeah, and it's that. To be honest, it's one of them. And it's weird how quickly I went on it. I wouldn't necessarily say a rant. I went on like a 10-minute defending him on a show at about January time, because I heard like some people on some like national football podcast going like, "Oh, he was using Nunez as like a punchline." You know what I mean?
They've given the ball away though. There, sorry, we'll come back to you. He just gets the ball caught under his feet in the end there.
He probably had to hit it first time.
Offside. Oh no, it's not offside. Liverpool playing with the ball at the edge of Las Palmas' box now. Endo, good feet.
Nice bit of skill.
Really good feet. And again, it just breaks down when it gets to Nunez there. For me, with him more than anything else, remember Diego Forlan? Everyone used to rave about him being a quality forward. He was great. He was great internationally. He looked good on the continent. Come to Man U and he just didn't really light it up. He had a couple of standout moments for them, but there was nothing where there was a whole body of work where you thought, he's value for money and he's that clinical guy, the difference maker, so to speak, for them. There's 1-0. There's 1-0.
It might be offside.
And it might be offside. And it is, of course. It's Nunez.
It's the man that we are speaking about.
The age-old.
I don't think he necessarily took the goal off Doak there, but I've thought about that Forlan comparison before as well, and it's not that he's a bad player. It's funnily enough, I could see Nunez working in an Atletico shirt with Simeone, like that, harnessing that Latin fire, and Simeone was a bit of a head case back in the day as well, and I could see it's one of them, and you just know it's going to happen. If we sold him tomorrow, he'd go and score 30 goals in the league or something, And
I think that's what I'm afraid of more than anything else. I think it's like if we let him go, we've got to let him go to a team where he can't really punish us on a regular basis. But I think there's enough of a player in there and again, that's why I've said my thing is with our forwards. I thought we had good spells with them last season, but in the big moments, I think collectively they didn't live up to the hype really at times. And I think having a new system, a new style, a new approach to deal with things and how we attack, I just want to see 6 months of that, and I'll know in 6 months whether that raw ability can be harnessed into something in a Liverpool shirt, or if unfortunately, you've had one undoubtedly world-class manager and another experienced, very, very highly thought of head coach. And if you can't cut your teeth with those two there trying to really bring the best out of you, I don't think it's ever going to be the right setup for you in a Liverpool shirt. So
no.
That's why I'm happy to give them that little bit of time. But again, I do feel as though they need to come good in their own way. And that same sentiment goes, the only two that are really safe for me in that respect are Jota and Salah. The same could be said for Gakpo, the same could be said for Nunes, the same could be said for Diaz, if I'm being completely honest with you. Because they've all shown moments of absolute brilliance.
Yeah.
But it's just trying to get it out of them on a consistent enough basis.
It's interesting to see if Gakpo started on the left here, if Slot sees him as another missed interception here, come on.
Mistake
bit of a fumble by Kelleher. Ball is still in play. Big Ollie McBurney
causing problems
backing in
there.
as he always does. What was the saying? Yeah, if Slot sees Gakpo as a left-sided player, then I guess Nunes, and there was a bit of chat before Slot came in about, is Salah going to move down the centre? That doesn't seem to be happening at all.
No.
So Nunes has only got Jota for company, and he might pick Jota the first 4 games, and then guess what? Jota's out for 3 months. So then Nunes has then kind of got that place himself, and it's then down to him to take that and to show what he can do. The frustrating thing with it, I've seen people being like, get Ian Russ down to train him how to finish. Get Robbie Fowler down to get him a psychologist, get him a hypnotist, get him a whatever. And it's like, do we need to get like a team, about an entourage of about 50 people just to get this guy to work? Like, would you rather have a slightly worse footballer who's more consistent? You know what I mean? Like, someone whose highs aren't as high but his lows aren't as low. I don't know.
No, I think it's a fair point, to be honest with you. You almost want a safe option, I think, because we had Firmino wasn't necessarily a safe option because he could get you off a seat as well, but you knew what he would bring to each game. Darwin, we still don't know. He's either going to be absolutely brilliant, he's going to run defences ragged, or he's just going to get frustrated with himself, and you can see he's very clearly an emotional player, and he's going to struggle to really get the best out of him, and that can happen. Round the corner. Wow,
Kelleher,
great save by Kelleher there off the corner. Yeah, I think this Las Palmas have been equal to Liverpool at the moment. Liverpool opportunities to have a bit of a quick break. We did really well. That's nice. You've got to play him in now. Play him in now. You've overrun it. And the opportunities went. See, that was what we did so well in the first game. That quick counter in that transition. And everybody went forward and the ball didn't stick at somebody's feet for more than 2 or 3 passes. There was a great opportunity there for Darwin Nunes to thread in Gakpo after.
It was an obvious pass as well. Like, it wasn't like it would have taken some kind of genius, Paul Scholes style threading of the ball. Gakpo's in loads of space. That's just one of those things where you just
frustrated with him. Jota gives that. Jota gives it and continues. To see if there's anything to pick
all
up.
The other front players give that. Then that's the annoying thing. He fashioned the chance himself with a great bit of skill, which is something that not a lot of players would do. But then the obvious thing, which is just play this through, he didn't. He held on to the ball and they ended up losing the ball.
And I say that was one thing I was about. Literally, as that transition happened, I was going to say, let's see what this Liverpool side, are they going to be as fluid as the one we've seen this afternoon? And don't get me wrong, that it took the first team today a little bit of time to really get into that fluid streak. But once they got it and it clicked, it did look scintillating at times.
Yeah.
So, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because we hadn't scored and broke down Sevilla at this point in the first game. So, it's anybody's guess. But there are early signs that it should be we should encourage as opposed to pick flaws in maybe.
Yeah, and the other thing with this is you don't know how, has this 11 been training together like it would if it was going to be in a League Cup game or whatever, you know, what has he almost had like a second coaching staff working with this or not, you know, like if not, they probably haven't, this particular setup of players probably hasn't done that much together. There's just a little, I don't think they've done anything, well, Phillips has had a little dodgy moment, but you got the likes of Phillips and Endo in there. Just, you know, if that's a Van Dijk or an Alexis McAllister or something, like, just in terms of that slickness, there's just one or two cogs in the machine that aren't quite as slick for this passing style that Slot seems to be going for.
As Liverpool now look to
Bradley's on the left-hand side. They've made a marauding run over to the left-hand side.
Endo on the ball there. He does play it backwards to Nat Phillips.
It's funny with Endo, like he did a great little bit of skill on the edge of the box before, and he slotted somebody through. I don't know if it was offside or not. I've always been surprised with, because when we signed him, it was like, oh, he's going to be like a terrier, and he's like, you know, he just runs round fighting fires. He's actually decent on the ball and spotting attacking moments, but it's sometimes it's the other parts of his game where he struggles a little bit, missing interceptions, getting loads. He loved the yellow card last year, didn't he?
As Liverpool tried to play the ball forward, and it just gets away from.
Really, the midfield hasn't really got any control of this. Have the Elliott's not really had much to do. Jones doesn't really. No one's running the show for Liverpool in the midfield.
Not by any means. But Liverpool pressing, winning the ball back. Canate. Now this is another area. He plays an early ball. Liverpool, you've got bodies back now, Las Palmas.
Yeah.
But Liverpool seem quite comfortable on the ball.
I was just like, from watching however many years of Klopp, you're like, go, go, go. But actually, Slot might not want them to do. He might be quite happy with this, you know.
It's going to take some getting used to. I said this to Steve earlier today. There are going to be moments where we feel as Liverpool fans, we know what we want our Liverpool team to be doing, but it might not always be what the instruction is for the players at any given time. So we've kind of got to give a little bit of trust, and we kind of got to relinquish that old comfort blanket that we used to have.
Bradley's just very far over the left-hand side again here.
As Dave tried to release Gonzalez, that's lovely, that by Canate, just plucks it down onto his chest, plays the ball forward, plays the ball
Great
out.
Ball by Elliott.
That's nice. Go.
Can he beat his man? He has.
He's got to do something with it. Oh, just tried to pull the trigger, and it was a good block there in the end. Inside their own box there.
I feel harsh on that. I've seen people today with this loan or permanent thing going, we always overrated. I'm like, he's 18. Yeah. Like, it's, you know, there's barely any body of evidence. He's such an exciting player. I think it's hard. It's hard. Same with Musialowski, actually. Like, you see these videos of him playing and
ripping it up
under 18s and beating 4 or 5 people. The only time I've seen him was they had a friendly at Preston last year against Darmstadt, and he came on with 10 minutes to go, and he probably beat the left back about 5 times, and you're like, God, this guy. Just that pace over 5 or 10 yards, skill, you know, low central gravity, all that, and you think that's kind of skills you can't teach, you know, being able to beat people so comfortably. But he had a bit of a nothing season for him, wasn't it? I was hoping he was going to get some. He did get a bit of time in the Europa League, but he ended up getting injured. I don't mind the links to the likes of Celtic, because I feel like. He could really do what.
That's a bit of a naughty tackle, that. Kind of left one in there on Nunes. So far, opening 27 minutes, James. Thoughts, takeaways, any highlights?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was a classic. It's a bit of a COVID vibe with the empty.
I can half see why we went for the second game, though, with this team. Because I think it's a good test for them, really.
Yeah.
Because this team look very good. They look very comfortable on the ball. They look like they're all trusting in their abilities. All be all right, yet they didn't have the best league season last season in La Liga. But they seem to have a little bit about them, and that's a lovely knock. Lovely knock. Konate's got to use his strength, and he does really well. See, that's what Konate does really well for me.
Yeah. Putting
out those fires in those areas. Doesn't matter if he feels like he's the last man, he has to make a last-ditch tackle. His timing of it normally is very good.
He's done a few of them in the area where, I think it was one of the League Cup finals against Chelsea where the fella was about 10 yards out, and he is so good at that.
There's that 10 again. He plays the ball down the line to number 23, goes towards the back post. Maybe the sun in his eyes there because I can't hardly see the ball anymore.
No.
And now it's come back into play. Number 16 there. Might have been blinded by the flight of the ball in the sun there, if I'm being completely honest.
I can see why they've done this, because if you think they've only just... This is the first time we've seen Konate. It's the first time we've seen Gakpo. And it's the first time we've seen Nunez. You could maybe, if they didn't have this game, give them a half in the first game, but then we also had Trent and Joe Gomez and people like that coming back in. So I think he's going to want the likes of Darwin and Gakpo to be, firing on all cylinders as much as possible. Conor Bradley's just had something squirted in his eye, which he didn't like, by a physio. Yeah. I don't know if he's got something
Stevie
in his eye.
G, I wouldn't say they've missed too much. I think there's a couple of good saves, smart saves from Kelleher, if I'm being honest. There was a good break in the mix as well. I think Nunez definitely should have done better in terms of his distribution of the ball. But there hasn't been a whole host of chances at the moment. Here's Ben Doak's opportunities again as he cuts in. He's on his left foot, he steps over, a couple step overs. Nice feet,
yeah,
and then just runs into a couple of bodies of yellow shirts before he lets the shot off. And
bit of a Diaz kind of thing, like beats the man and then beats another man and then he's into traffic. Yeah. Like he could have done with either beating the man and getting a shot off, or beating him on the outside and getting the cross in. But it is just nice to see someone so skillful.
Liverpool are having a little bit of a water break. There was a water break early in the first game as well, so we have just stopped play on the half-hour mark, and there is just a water break there and an opportunity for Arne Slot to put some more instructions into the lads, see what he's asking of them. What do you think he would be asking at this moment in time, James? What is it that he's probably looking for, other than a goal and be the obvious?
Yeah, I wonder if a bit more control, maybe. I feel like they've started coming into it a bit more in the last 10 minutes, because I'd say the first 20 minutes, Las Palmas didn't dominate, but they had the better of it. They had some decent moves. Maybe a bit more control. Start trying to pin them back in their own half. Something like that. We haven't really had too many shots in anger, have we? I don't know about the old XG thing. I don't know if he's going to be a you must not shoot from outside the box person, or if he's, I don't know what his opinion is on all that sort of thing.
Yeah, Liverpool look as though they are just about to start the game again. He's got a different rig out. I should have had a fucking wardrobe costume change, man.
Yeah.
I've only just clocked that. He's looking a lot more casual now. He's been to the christening, ladies and gents. He's back home. He's got the slides on. He's put on the t-shirt. He's about to start cooking on the barbie. He looks like that kind of geezer, doesn't he? Like, if you're going round to his, he's definitely the head chef on a barbecue.
Oh, yeah. I could see him, yeah. Nice apron on.
Yeah.
Big fork with a few steaks. Maybe one of those aprons that's got like a six-pack.
Just there, yeah.
Like muscles thing. Like,
I can fully see that in a Slot's kitchen. But we'll see what he's cooking here as he's just imparted his
football-wise.
Football,
not barbecue-wise.
As Liverpool are back on the ball. But yeah, it took me a minute to clock that he changed his rig out there as well.
He's in the shade now, so he doesn't need to worry.
He doesn't need to worry at all.
I'm not going on. Just my dad's, a little bit follically challenged, not as much as Arne, like. But my dad's always getting sunburn playing golf. He's got like a bit of a Zidane little,
little nest going on.
But yeah, and he's when he forgets to put his factor 50 on. If you're having troubles with your hair, why not work with our partners, Dr. Chinnick. The
Hey, don't call.
I wasn't asked. I wasn't asked for that little sponsor read, so you know. But I just thought it was an. I just thought it was an opportunity.
And I'm sure Joe's got a graphic that he can just put down there whenever he feels like, and we'll give you the nod to it. If you do, teeth and hair.
I can see, you know, I can see why you'd go for it. I'm not grey. I'm sound with that.
You got a good head of hair on you.
It's not what it once was, but it's not. You know, it's not too bad.
Hey, we ain't spring chickens anymore. I got greys hiding in this. Trust me. There it is. Yeah, I'd be interested. Oh, Liverpool's a sloppy Canate there. And the press is not quite what it was in the first game. It'd be so interesting. I'd love to ask if the approach from game 1 to game 2 is, you know, like for like. If the instructions have been the same, or he recognises he's playing with a different set of players that have got slightly different strengths and weaknesses, perhaps.
Yeah.
And obviously trying to utilise what this team offers, as opposed to trying to force this team to do what the first team were capable of doing.
I don't know, like, not trying to read into his more casual wear he's got on, but has he even said, don't get injured, just get your fitness back, you know, I'm not looking for anything massive, like, or, you know, is
Nunez there
a chance
now.
For Nunez.
Oh, it's a good ball as well. That was the right ball.
Yeah.
Had a lot of pace on it. There just wasn't anybody there to really convert it and make the most. But there they are again, Liverpool. He's done well, stayed on side. We've just had to come back a little bit and cut back there with Harvey Elliott, but he does a little cute ball there. And now it's Andy Robertson with a good delivery. Harvey Elliott there. Oh, God. Dope. Yeah. And that's a difficult one, because we've seen Trey Onyé was very brave in the finish that he had in the second half. Ben Doak's running into traffic, bodies are about to crash into him. A lot less space.
Yeah.
But again,
he's just come off an injury as well. He doesn't really want to be flying in there,
there's two high leg knees going up for it.
Yeah.
You put your laces through that and you're clattering into somebody's shin without a shadow of a doubt. Here's Curtis Jones on the ball now.
I feel like, in terms of the whole double pivot thing, Jones has been. I'm not saying this is a single pivot, but I feel like Jones has been a lot higher than his Endo.
Oh, Endo,
just
sorry.
Try to go round his man. Yeah, for the likes. I mean, I doubt he's gone out and gone like, you're playing for your futures, or you know what I mean. I doubt he said that. I mean, like, Andy Robertson doesn't need to prove anything, does he?
No, he just needs to get the minutes in his belt. Same for Canate. I think Canate needs to prove that he can be fit enough.
Yeah. More
than anything else. But aside from that, again, another sloppy pass. Who was that? This time Jones. It was Jones. He gives it away and he instigates the press straight away, because in recognition of the mistake that he's made. But Liverpool's midfield definitely isn't as well oiled as the midfield that we watched at lunchtime. This game hasn't created that many openings either for the forward line, so it is difficult. I think, you know, we spoke earlier on and mentioned, you know, if you had the choice, you'd have rather played with that first 11, because obviously that first 11 is probably the closest thing to a starting 11 for Liverpool in general. But there isn't a massive, in certain one, maybe man for man there might be, but in terms of a collective, there's not a big massive drop off. There are still some players in here that can cause any team difficulties. You've still got a capable keeper. You've still got a very capable centre half in there with the experience of Canate. You've got Robbo there, kind of complementing Trent, or almost. Obviously, Bradley, you'd say, is probably on par with the Simicast in that respect in terms of the offensive work. I think defensive duties. I think Bradley just looks more like a conventional right back, or full back, so to speak. It is probably the midfield area where you're probably thinking man for man, that's where the weakness is. But it is another opportunity for Liverpool to break quickly.
Darwin Nunez, unbelievable pace.
He just wants to do it on. He's done quite well, but now he needs to find a pass. Now he needs to find a pass, and he doesn't. He went the whole way from the halfway line.
Yeah. Kind of classic Darwin again. I mean, if he delayed it off, nothing might have come of it. But he decided to have a go from about 20 odd yards, and it was an easy save down to the keeper's right.
I think you want to be the one running onto an opportunity like that. You need someone to be putting that on a play for you. You don't need to be creating it all. At that point, once you've created and done all the hard work, you need to just keep the ball moving. In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, and I think, unfortunately, that I don't think that's a skill you can teach. We were saying before about him not releasing the ball. There was one earlier on, I can't even remember what happened, but it was like, was that the right option? He did play the right option when he did that low crossing across the face of goal. I don't know how you could... Oof. Nearly an own goal there from, I think it was Robertson, off the top of the bar. It was a cross from the right-hand side from Las Palmas, and it was a defensive header towards his own goal. It was nearly a spectacular own goal, in fact, from Robertson.
Oh, would have been right onto the top of the bar. Wow.
Corner for Las Palmas. I see that whole thing about the seats at the Anfield Road end getting covered up. Did you see that the other week?
Oh, in the pictures, yeah.
People were saying it was 66.
66.
So I see that's not the case.
And look at that. That was quite a smart set piece there. I think Ten Gonzalez doesn't get his execution right.
Mate, yeah. Oh.
But I think that's something that they've definitely worked on in terms of a set piece routine. Footy Bite makes an interesting point at Redmen TV. He's trying to prove himself now, same as Mane used to do when he had a bad game. I remember that Mane period. I think he was another one who was criminal against Everton. There was a 1v1. All he has to do is keep it low, and he absolutely balloons it, and his head goes for about 3 to 4 weeks after that.
Yeah.
And you can just see his force and things. So yeah, maybe it's about getting back into that natural groove and trusting in yourself that you've got enough ability. Your ability's carried you this far into your professional career. It will continue to carry you as long as you can get out of your own head long enough, would be my overall advice of that. But Liverpool again playing through the middle. Couple bodies there. Runs, comes out to Ben Doak.
Yeah, it's
him and Harvey seem to have swapped as well for quite a portion of this first half.
It's a psychology thing, isn't it? And having to figure out, this is not in no way the same, but when I was doing my driving lessons, sometimes my dad would take me out. I remember like 1 or 2 times, my dad surprisingly was very good at, like, I'd make a little mistake and he'd like let it happen as long as I wasn't going to kill anyone.
Yeah, of course.
And then 10 seconds later you go, right, what did you do wrong there? And I'd be like, I should have done this. And he'd go, there you go, learn from it. And I'd be like, whereas my actual driving instructor, while I was doing it, he'd go, whoa, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so then I'd drive worse for the next 10, 20 minutes because I was a bit
overthinking everything, and it's just the right thing.
That's what worked for me. Or like there's a way of
lovely
little ball by Elias.
Just a little bit behind him there in the box. It was lovely build-up play there from Liverpool again.
Similar to the one for Carvalho's goal against Arsenal.
That's a lovely feat there. That was Curtis Jones there with a little flip-flop, it looked like. Liverpool moving them about now, doing really well. Just seemed to have switched up the tempo here, maybe in the last 5 minutes since the water break. Yeah, they've definitely come into it a bit more. Darwin's coming into it. I like this from Nigel Smith. Can we stop shitting on Núñez, please? Get behind the lad. Hey, I'm not shitting on him. I think sometimes criticism is fair when you've got the evidence to go off, but I don't out and out agree with people just slating the lad, because I think he's scored some big goals for us already. I think he scored some great goals, some unbelievable finishes. I just want to see him fulfill his potential, because I think he is. I think he's a phenomenal footballer. I'm just not 100% sure of how that looks in a Liverpool shirt at the minute, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying to you before, I went. It wasn't a rant. This was about January time, and I was listening to some like football podcasts, and it was a bit like they were painting Núñez as like this clown, like Manuel from Fawlty Towers who can't get anything right. So I was thinking, he's not that. And I was like, I defended him. I was like, I'm not having this anymore. Then he started playing some of his best stuff of the year. doubtless because of my backing. You must have watched that.
There's Endo again with another sloppy, poor mistake. He's done that a couple times where it doesn't look like he's been...
Ooh, McBurney with the flick on there.
It doesn't look like he's been put under by 2 or 3 players surrounding him. He just seems a bit sloppy on the ball.
Yeah.
It's hard to really put my finger on it because a player of his ability shouldn't really be giving the ball the sloppy sideways passes like that.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because he's obviously 31. He's Japan's captain. Like he knows his way around a football pitch.
Yeah, not hard.
He's, but yeah, you can see why. But I mean, I was going to say you can see why Slot necessarily doesn't rate him. But like these are just, you wouldn't want that in any team really. Just these little sloppy mistakes.
No, and again, dust off the cobwebs. Get them out of your system now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be the best part of 5 or 6 weeks before we see him playing a full 90 minutes again. So,
yeah.
you kind of got to keep that level of match fitness there and readily available in the event that you are thrown into a starting 11 or required. On the whole, though, we're approaching half-time now, 44 minutes played on the clock. Has there been a standout performer in this first half for you in any way?
Tough. I mean, Nunez has done some really good things, but then he's done some annoying things as well, which I guess kind of sums him up. I wouldn't say there's really been a standout. Doak's had a few nice little moments down the right-hand side, but nothing great. Elliott started coming into it a bit more, some nice little chip balls over the top, but I wouldn't say, man of the match, I don't know, what about you? Who's caught your eye?
To be honest, I think he made a bit of a meal of something earlier on, but I think Konate's been all right.
Yeah.
I was apprehensive to see the levels in terms of the fitness, but again, like that, just plucking a ball down from the sky, just getting it on his chest. He doesn't look rushed. He doesn't look panicked. I think there is an expectation of him now. This is what you mentioned last season, and it has gone to half time, so he can be forgiven for that. But I think there's the expectation he's got to play the ball a bit more forward now. He's got to find those forward passes through the lines, and I think the more he does it, hopefully the more confidence he gets at doing it. But he looked strong. He looked like he was at his best. There was a 1v1 there where he seemed to be the last man. And he dealt with it in the way that he normally does, fighting fires, quick to put it out. I think he's been a good rock in defence for us. And who else? That midfield's probably been a bit of a weak link. Jones, Elliott, and Endo struggled for me at times, really, to really stamp their mark on the game. I think Endo's probably been the weakest of the three.
Yeah.
I think, Jones has probably been a little bit anonymous, which is probably...
He's made an odd mistake as well, Jones.
Yeah. And I think, in terms of who's been the most lively, you've got to give it to Darwin, regardless of the actual output at this point in the game.
Yeah.
He has been the one that has looked the most lively. He has been the one that could have been on the end of things and could have been turn provided as well. So there's been a few decent performances. There's been nothing where any of those lads so far... If the aim of the game was to dislodge somebody from the starting 11 from the game before, I don't think anybody up till now has achieved that.
No.
Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, no, I'd absolutely agree.
I think that's probably the way you've got to frame it on a day like this. You're playing 2 games with 2 different 11s. The job of the second 11 surely has got to be, well, if you want to play left wing, Gakpo, score a fucking hat-trick because Diaz scored the brace, do you know what I mean, surely? Yeah,
so Gakpo's, they just had a little clip of him walking off, and I was thinking, I haven't seen him on the ball for a while. Like, again, it's his first game back, so... it's got a bit of a League Cuppy. Some of those Europa League games last year were a bit of a slog at times. It's got to have a bit of that feel about it. But yeah, I agree with it. Nobody looks to be dislodging the person in front of them. Obviously, I think we all know Robertson's going to be ahead of Tsimikas when he's fully fit. Yeah, I think I'd probably agree with you on Konate's. I can't think of anything.
He may be the only one because Jarrell makes that mistake.
Yeah.
In the first half, do you know what I mean? Like he makes that mistake, and up till now, see, there's Bora there. None of them are starting next week. Yeah, it might be fair to say, but Konate probably is the only one that you think, okay, he's the closest to matching what Jarrell did because Jarrell's made that mistake. And ultimately, Konate's looked pretty solid on the whole at this moment in time. But outside of that, I think you would struggle to really pinpoint and say, yes, that player there, that's exciting. We need a little bit of that.
Yeah.
That needs to be in the starting lineup for Ipswich on Saturday.
Yeah, unfortunately. I don't know how long all of these are going to be on the pitch for. I'd like to see Doak beat his man. I'd like to see Gakpo take a man on down the left-hand side. Maybe there's going to be a Nunez moment. Maybe there's going to be a ridiculous moment in a good way. I'm
here for it.
Like he takes the ball 30 yards and blams one in from 25 yards. Maybe it's going to happen. I'm not trying to doubt him. Like it could, but then he might. We'll have to see.
We'll have to see how it all pans out, because at the end of the day, in order for that to happen, I think that was one of the points that Steve made in the first game. What Liverpool were able to do and what we was able to create, for large parts in previous seasons, it has been down the flanks. It's been down, from the full-backs. We played a lot through the middle today. There was a lot of creation that came through the centre of the park. Obviously, the third goal comes through the centre of the park, the way that it lands at Salah's feet. He tees up Jota. Jota plays the ball through to Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai across to Diaz. For Diaz's first goal, obviously, he kind of has to make that run from out to in, kind of almost, to kind of get the angle in order to kind of drop a shoulder and then blam it into the top corner. And then, obviously, Trent's playing a little bit inverted at the second phase of a set piece in order to set up Jota. That's the area where we struggled for me in this first half. We struggled to really get any real dominance in the middle of the park. So I don't really think if that's meant to be a blueprint, so to speak, no matter which team plays, the best part of our build-up is going to come through a central area. We haven't really set the foundations to give the forward three the chance, so to speak, to kind of find themselves reaping the rewards of that. And I think maybe that might be an area where, I don't know what substitutions that can be made to complement that, or to add a little bit more robustness in the midfield. But that might be an area where he tries to address in the half time, because if that is the blueprint, we're going to need to see more evidence of it in the next 45 minutes. That no matter who kind of comes in and drops out, they're still very capable of being able to deliver on that. If that makes sense. Yeah,
I think with this midfield, it's a bit. They're all individually good players, but it's got that League Cup sort of feel, or Europa League kind of feel. I think he's probably, I don't know if he's can draw massive conclusions for 45 minutes of football, but I think looking at that, you think, if you're playing anyone half decent, like Jones in there, great. He was in my first choice midfield for large parts of last season. Elliott's a bit massive Elliott fan. I feel like they underused him at the end of last season. But when there's no McAllister or Szoboszlai, I think you need you need a mix, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so then let me ask you this: coming out to the back end of last season, what would have been your order? Because it's a two-part question. What would have been your order of the midfielders then, if you had to rank them in terms of, right, we're going to start with you, and then the others kind of feature at some point?
Well, I think for the first until we weren't good, it would have been McAllister, Szoboszlai and Jones.
Okay, yeah.
But then, and it was annoying because they got them back. They got Szoboszlai back. McAllister had a little injury at some point. Jones, whatever. They got them back, and Elliott was playing really well. And then we just seem to not see Elliott for a while. So towards the end of the season, I feel like McAllister's legs fell off a bit. And so the end of the season, I actually would have liked to see a few more changes. But I think, and I was never totally sold on McAllister as the six. I think of the performances last season, some of the better ones he was there.
Okay, so the second part of that then is, because you hadn't mentioned his name in that little response, are you now surprised that where Gravenberch seems to have position that he seemed to have put himself in the last 4 to 5 weeks potentially?
A little bit, yeah, because I
didn't see that coming. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I like him as a player. I don't really see him as a deepest line player, to be honest. A lot of people have said since we signed him, when he first came in some of those Europa League games, there was one or two where he was really good. He was gliding across the field.
I think the City game as well, he comes on and that, doesn't he? Changes things and helps us get back into that game.
He was beating people. He was getting shots off. He scores in one of those Europa. Like God, no, I can't remember who it was. I watched it in here anyway, and I thought his attacking gifts are too much to have him as a deeper player. But I thought he did well today, so I'm not ruling that out. He was never consistent. I always thought that like there'd be some games where you go in and I'd see him in the starting lineup. And I'd think, is this one for you? You know what? And sometimes, like he scores a great goal against Fulham, but there was the odd game where we struggled, and I was thinking, like, could you not get one more game out of X player, or you know what I mean?
I think the interesting thing with him is, well, obviously McAllister seemed to be a little bit more of a deeper line midfielder early part of last season. So when you brought him in, he was like the left to Szoboszlai's right, and I think both profiles or skill sets were similar to enough to a point where you didn't really know which one of them wanted to actually take the game by the scruff of the neck. Between the two of them, they both kind of not shirked away from the responsibility, but they both felt like either one of us could do it. And it was like, well, because either one of us could do it, no one ended up doing it, if that makes sense. When it was just, when he wasn't there, Szoboszlai was there, and he was quite clearly comfortable being that driving force. Likewise, if Szoboszlai wasn't on the right-hand side and Grandbeck was on the left, he seemed quite comfortable being that driving force. Having the two of them as those eights, as much as you'd think on paper, they were going to complement each other and they're going to, outwork. They're going to have the legs. They're going to have the energy. They've got the ability to play a ball through the lines and add a bit of creativity. Together in tandem, it didn't seem to work enough for me. There might have been moments and glimpses, but in terms of like 4 or 5 game streaks, you couldn't rely on both of them to be your out and out eights. My point today is he plays a little bit deeper and McAllister plays a little bit higher up the pitch, and just changing that dynamic of them, it all allowed them to kind of flourish naturally. Excuse me, without having to rely on one heavily to do the other job, if that makes sense. Yeah,
it could be an interesting little move for him, and we don't know what's going on with this Suber-Mendy deal. Like exactly. I saw, when I saw that David Ornstein tweet the other day, I was like, well, that's done, because they don't
get ahead of themselves too often.
That they're interested. Basically, when they're interested, that normally means he's pretty much signed. So you'd have to say, I mean, if he comes in, it's going to be for a decent fee. So he's not necessarily going to play every game, but he's going to play the majority of the games. And you think as long as he can fit in and play well, he's probably going to play the bigger games, the Champions League against the top teams, your City, United type games. But I think that's potentially a strength of our midfield is that versatility. If you've got the likes of Jones or Gravenberch who can play in the deeper role or they can play in the higher role. I don't really think we want to see Elliott in the deeper role.
No.
But like, if they can do different things, and Szoboszlai as well. I mean, when it was first talked about it being a 4-3-2-1, which Slot famously rubbished to poor Chris, and I can see what he means now, Slot, because it does look more like 4-3-3 actually. But if you have like two pivots, one, two, it does. It depends how you want to write it down, basically.
I just want to to mention, we are about to take a quick advert break. The chat is absolutely on fire. Thank you very much for watching, I should say. If you haven't already liked the stream, please make sure you do. Just before we go to this break, do let us know in the chat, is there any substitutes? Is there anybody that you would bring on? What is it that you would like to see from this second B team of Liverpool as we come back out? And we will be back on the other side of these ads.
If I'd have just done that. We interrupt this regularly scheduled broadcasting for a public service announcement. If you are a club legend at redmenplus.com, then every single month you have got the chance to win an incredible prize. And this month it is no more, no less than a signed Ian Rush shirt, 89.91, signed by the man, the legend himself, Mr. Ian Rush, the goal scoring machine, Goal Rush himself. You have to be in it to win it. Go over to redmenplus.com, sign up as a club legend, and you could win this incredible shirt. Back to your scheduled broadcasting.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are here on the Redmen TV with me and James, taking you through the second game. This afternoon, Liverpool have played once already, winning 4-1 against Sevilla, and now we're back out. It's 0-0 against Las Palmas FC. We was just discussing before we went for a little ad break in terms of what we would like to see from the second half, if there are any players that we'd like to call on. James, you had a little look at some of the substitutes there. Is there any tinkering that you would do to this squad or anything like that?
I mean, there's not a massive amount. We've only got 7 on the bench. Kay Gordon, maybe. I know he looks like he's going on loan. I mean, will he come on if he's going on loan? They don't, in case he got a little injury. Yeah. I don't know. You've got Harvey Davis, Callum Scanlon, Kay Gordon, Amara Nallo's the young centre-back, who I don't even think I've actually seen. Sepp Vandenberg, Tyler Morton and Harvey Blair. So there's no one really screaming out as game changer there. Morton, I like Morton when it...
Maybe Morton for an endo though.
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously, you kind of do want to get some of those lads get as many minutes as possible. But if your terms of kind of wanting to shore things up and look a little bit more solid, Endo's probably been guilty of maybe giving away one ball too many. So maybe a Morton is an option. Las Palmas are about to kick off for 45 minutes more of football, and then our pre-season is over. The real football will begin again on Saturday lunchtime, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you stay tuned. If you haven't already, make sure you follow all of the hosts here at Redmen TV. Make sure you are liking and subscribing to the channel so you get your notifications when we go live on match days for all of our watch-alongs. We have literally got you boxed from every single angle, from Anfield to the studio and everywhere in between with the Redmen team. So please do continue to support the channel. Your support is what keeps my bum on this seat. Real talk. So,
are you doing the Ipswich?
I am doing the Ipswich. Yeah,
there we go.
Me in the hall.
Get your first team out.
That's it. Let's get it done. So we're just dusting off the cobwebs. We're having a little pre-season ourselves.
We are.
Had to be done. We had a few technical glitches earlier in today, but we've ironed them all out for you. That's a foul. Come on, ref.
Yeah, he's giving it.
There we go. Our ball. Yeah, Robbo's happy with that. Making sure.
He was ready to be like, "Are you messing?" if that was gone the other way. If that had gone the other way.
Oh, look at him. Nigel says, I don't care if it's pre-season. Winning 6 out of 6 is good for the mentality. Are you in that camp as well? Do you feel just the wins, or are you just more about the getting the minutes in your legs as opposed to results?
I think what's been good about this pre-season is it's had all of that. They've managed to give minutes to everyone. I know they've had loads. It's been tough for Slot as Robertson swings a free kick in, but it was the trajectory was too low. He's got minutes into everyone. He's had people coming back late from internationals. Thankfully, he didn't have anyone at the Olympics because there was even threat of Salah going to that at one point, all that sort of stuff. So he's managed to get them all back. He's seen them all in the flesh now. But also, the results have been perfect so far. And the signs have been. Oh, nearly. Was that Elliot? Or... I think it was. Yeah, he's getting very good at those little
clips in over the back,
little sandwiches over over the centre backs. They've had the results and they've had the performances. Or it's mainly, I think, attacking areas, nice moves. Like all the goals were good today.
Yeah, brilliant.
There were loads of.
Do you
good...
have a favourite? Is there a favourite?
I think maybe just that third one because it was sweeping from one end of the pitch to the bottom. I mean, Jota's finish was outrageous. Yeah. Was like
they've all got moments. They've all got little moments of brilliance, haven't they?
I'm dead pleased for Diaz hitting the ground running because that second goal, you think, if you're closer to the goal more often, then we'll see more of that. Yeah. As much as he's such a willing runner, and Mane used to do this as well, where if we were under a bit of pressure, he'd kind of boot it long and he'd just like get his arse in the way and like get a foul and then if he wins the ball, he's then off and running. Then he's dead good at that. But you've got to be. We need the output. You've got to be. Mane would do that, but also score 20 league goals. You know. I mean, he was a very rare player, Mane. To be fair to him. But yes, I was pleased for Diaz coming back and scoring those 2 goals. I'm excited. I don't want to say it too loud because, like, you know, I'm not saying we're winning the league.
Well, sold them short a little bit there in midfield. No, I get what you're saying. No, it doesn't feel like you've split the band up like. When the Spice Girls broke up, you knew that they had broke up. The dynamic was never going to be the same again. Do you know what I mean? When Justin Timberlake leaves NSYNC,
Jerry left.
First.
It just was never the cracks were appearing.
Yeah, it was never the same again. Whereas with this, it doesn't feel like it has that kind of resemblance to it. Everybody is seemingly bought into what Arne Slot is trying to, implement. There seems to be a refreshness about a lot of the players, which I think is good. I think they needed that. I think they're living under that cloud of knowing that it was Jurgen's last season and the pressure and, challenging and probably being a little bit ahead of where he was projected to have been. And then the pressure that comes with that maybe just got too much and it was quite exhausting for a couple of players having to, do extra jobs because other players weren't fit for periods of time as well. I just felt like it all got too much for this team. And if the cracks were going to start showing, maybe there would have been signs of that already. Obviously, the pressure comes again now once the league starts. But in terms of the evidence that's in front of us as Liverpool fans, you can't be anything but pleased and feel it's promising at this particular moment in time. At time of recording, you're being hypercritical. Right? You might want more in terms of transfer and business, but that's not the head coach's job. The head coach is to coach these lads to get the best out of them. And at this moment in time, you can't possibly be expecting much more, if that makes sense.
Lovely spin and run by Ben Doak there. Set Gakpo up, who curled a shot over the bar. I think going into last season, I thought, to be honest, because we changed the whole midfield and like we get like 4th and maybe win a cup or get to a final a bit, and we ended up coming 3rd and winning a cup.
Yeah. We just got carried away with the.
I didn't expect the level of performances to be so high, and I don't know. I can't remember what City won the league on, but it was over 90 odd. It was 90 odd point, 92,
92. I think it might have been. Yeah.
I didn't think last season's team were ever good enough to get that, but there was a point about Christmas time after City lost to Villa, where I thought, if City get like 87, maybe we could just sneak that. And then it ended up, we all know what happened. I feel more confident now than I did this time last season. I'm not that... I don't know if I'm massively... this is why I feel like I'm setting myself up for a fall. But I'm not having this whole, like, you can't follow a legend and look what happened to Moyes and look what happened after Wenger left. And like,
I think the succession planning from Liverpool's been excellent, though.
Yeah.
And that'll be one thing where I will sing the praises on, mate, because just to pick up on your point there, two of them have just missed clear opportunities there. Las Palmas, it's a great ball into the box. It was whipped in. the trajectory really, it's in that area of doubt from a goalkeeper's perspective, and your defenders don't know if they get a touch on it, will it be an own goal?
Yeah.
Number 2 just whips it in. Canate does throw his body towards it, but maybe he just takes the attacker's eye off the ball in doing that. But I think for me, the succession plan has been really important, because someone in the chat just said it. Slot's inheriting a much better team. He's inherited. Oh, refs letting him get away with that. He's inheriting a far better side as Liverpool break away now. We'll come back to some of these thoughts in a minute. But there's Gakpo, there's someone on the overlap. Robbo. Oh, unlucky.
I was wondering if Gakpo was going to cut inside and shoot there like he was doing in the Euros, but he probably was the percentage option to play in Andy Robbo down the left-hand side. I don't really know what happened there.
Yeah, the keeper kind of palms it, doesn't he? Palms it up, not really away.
Yeah, Elliot didn't get a touch on it.
No.
Endo trying to get a little header in.
Yeah, and for me, I think that's the most important thing. Keeping... Liverpool,
good tackle by Endo.
Wow, great tackle. That's got to be one. Oh, come on, Nunes. You've got to finish that better there. I think in terms of the succession plan, I think it's been a lot better. I think Arne Klopp didn't know what beast City were in its infancy, really. They had won a couple of leagues, but they weren't what they are now. And I think the idea that Arne Slot, going into this league from the outset, understands that City are a phenom. They're a ridiculous machine. They are absolutely incredible. It means he's got to keep as much of the good stuff that Liverpool have as possible and find a way to add to that. And I think that makes it a much easier task than what Klopp inherited, because Klopp needed to build an entire squad fit for purpose that could eventually challenge whoever was going to be at the top of the tree at that point.
Yeah.
Because City Chelsea had won a league, could have continued in that form. Man U could have been revived. There were so many more unknowns in Klopp's first 12 to 18 months, whereas the ground's pretty set.
Yeah.
You kind of know what you're dealing with. There's no real surprises. No one's going to come and sucker punch Arne Slot and make him feel like, I wasn't expecting this from this league. It's a lot tougher than I anticipated. No, if you want to consider yourself a title challenging team, your squad needs to achieve over 90 points a season.
Yeah.
How you get that out of them?
That was a thing I liked about his very first interview. Was he said something like, okay, last season we got 82 points, that's very good, but if we're going to try and win the league, we know we've got to get more. So I think, all right, so he's not coming in thinking, I'll just settle, I'll get fourth, do all right in the Champions League, try and maybe get to another domestic cup final. He's thinking, we've got to be getting 90. So, and I like that. And I like the other thing with him was he's won a league last season, PSV. It was something like, I think they play 34, and they barely lost they dropped points in like 4 games. So that's the equivalent of a City where it's just you can't touch them. So, but he knows, he's got experience of what that's like to chase in terms of like,
how do you strive for that level of perfection?
A 1-1 draw away at Villa is actually a good result, and like, but if City are winning every week, you've got to win.
Yeah, you've got to win.
As tough as it is, because I mean, it is mad. Like, this time 2 years ago, we drew the first game of the season against Fulham, and like it wasn't over then, but like within 3 games, it was like, this is over. This, isn't it?
Because it was the Arsenal one when we went down and travelled to Arsenal about 5 games into it, and we get unlucky. I think it's Jota that ends up injured for a long period of time as well in that game, and you just know, when
they lost to Man U, didn't they?
Yeah,
who were terrible
as well. We're not going to be able to claw this back. Chat, I want one or two things from you. First of all, make sure you're liking the stream. Come on, guys. This is the second game that we've done here at Redmen TV today. We are back. We are firing on all cylinders. There will be content from around the ground as well later, so make sure that you are liking the comments, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And then secondly, realistic targets and expectations for Liverpool this season. Where do you think we finish in the Premier League? Let us know. First, second, third, fourth, 19th. Go on, give me your wildest predictions. Let us know what you believe. After now you've seen almost an hour of Liverpool playing the second game today, up till now unbeaten in pre-season. Let us know what the expectation is for Arne Slot and his Red Army in the chat, please. I've got Nigel saying treble winners. Ooh.
Thank you, Dave, for the like. He's just described the game as gash-tastic.
Fantastic, yeah, I've seen that. Top 3 in a cup, says Ashley. LJ Smith says top 4 in a cup. There's a couple others in here as well, so I will get round to them. Mark Johnson saying 3rd. He wants to see 3rd. Ross says 4th if FSG continue with the greed. 811 YouTube says 3rd. And a Champo semi as the minimum, please. Anxiety says Champions League, 4th in the Champions League. Okay. Billy J wants to know how Liverpool are playing in this game. We're not playing too bad. We're not really looking ruthless.
Been a bit better this second half. They've had more, apart from that low cross from the right wing from Las Palmas. We've probably had more of the ball, more chances. Dokes had a few good moments. Gakpo's got a bit more involved. We just haven't. Nunez probably had the best chance. It was an unusual finish from him, really, because he normally smacks them. He kind of scuffed it a bit, didn't he? Yeah, it was an easy save for the goalkeeper.
August says 3rd is a must. We are worse than City and Arsenal, but we have a far better squad than the rest of the league. I contest that. I do not think we are much worse than Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah.
Personally. But I take it they've done 2 seasons on the spin where they finished 2nd, and they've added some additions to their squad. So there is an argument to say that Arsenal are better equipped. Curtis Jones just gives a careless pass. He's not looking. He's tenaciously winning the ball back, which is nice to see, but he's just put himself into a whole world of trouble he didn't have to do. Liverpool do ride their luck a little bit there.
He said Slot likes him playing with the ball more. He doesn't want to see you dallying on the ball at the edge of your own box, Curtis. Although this has started a move for Liverpool now, so he's actually recovered the situation.
Turn. And that's a nice finish. Who was that? Dan again. Second one wasn't as good as the first attempt, and that was Andy Robbo. Wow.
I was going to say Elliot.
Wow. Robbo wrapping it like that.
I know, yeah.
Wrapped it like Christmas paper, baby. That was unbelievable. You just don't expect to see him there dropping and turning the shoulder, letting the shot off. It was absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant striker's play, that was.
It was brilliant.
Spin.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow, Robbo working on his shooting boots.
It's like Callum Scanlon is coming on. That might be it for Robbo, actually. Because Scanlon played a little bit at left back in the Europa League last year. I think he can play at centre back. Anyway, we'll see what happens.
As we approach the hour mark as well, ladies and gents. Joe, give me a shout. What are we actually on in terms of the likes? Wow, how many watching? Wow. You don't fuck with us the way you used to fuck with us. What can I say? Okay. Disappointed. Turn these rounds upside down.
You've got higher expectations than me, because I was like, that's not too bad.
No. Absolutely not.
The last one I was on,
we don't do that here at the Redmen TV.
Yeah.
1,000 likes
I was
is the
say,
minimum bar for any stream that we do when we do watch-alongs. So if you want to be part of the legacy that doesn't get us there, it's not a good legacy to write, let me tell you. Look at the new studio, look at the settings, how beautiful this is. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the new studio settings, by the way?
Brilliant, yeah, this is my first time in here today. I guess they can turn the desk the other way. We've got another wall here. We've got a signed Steven Gerrard top. We've got a signed Luis Garcia.
It's looking like the ultimate man cave in here, like the ultimate Liverpool man cave in it.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's need like fantastic. A little beer fridge or something. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Not on the job.
Not at all. A couple cold ciders would do me nicely.
Yeah.
Something fruity. Yeah.
Maybe Redmen need to get like an official booze partner.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be all right.
Pending. They've had one in the past as well.
Have they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did have one in the past. Because they got like little... What? I know. Well, no, we're not big drinkers, to be fair. But they did have one, because it was the IPA stuff that they had in. It was a while ago. Probably about 4 or 5 seasons ago now, but there was at one point.
I'm not an IPA guy.
I'm not a beer guy, in all fairness. No. I don't mind a little cider from time to time, but I'm not a massive drinker. I'm being completely honest. Nat
I'm
Phillips got a whack.
I'm just going to stay quiet. Ollie McBurney throwing himself about. He pushed Kelleher over there.
And it still ends up in the back of the net. Yeah, that playing out from the back there can cause Liverpool problems if they're not on it and if they're not sharp. Nat Phillips got a whack which completely took him out of play, and he's still having a bit of a conversation with the ref about it. The ref looks like he can kind of handle himself, though. He doesn't look like a small cat, does he?
He's not quite that Polish fella who looks like a bouncer. But he's got a big guy. How have we not scored? We haven't really created a whole host of challenges, man. Robertson's hit the post.
Nunez is offside.
Had a decent chance. I mean, we have had the ball in the net, but it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't really close to being. It was definitely offside.
Wilfred Webster with some hopeful thinking. He says City are going to drop off and shock everybody. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I thought that was happening last season. Yeah. I thought about halfway, I was like, these might only get in the 80s here for points, and then they just didn't. And it's like those last 10 games or whatever it was, I thought, there's no way Arsenal and City are winning every game, and they pretty much did, apart from there was one they drew 0-0 against each other, didn't they? But yeah. I can't make my mind up on everything I see about Mikel Arteta. I think like they've seen this stuff about the pickpockets.
Yeah,
that I think this is the stuff that, like, if Brendan Rodgers was getting laughed at if he'd have done it,
getting mocked.
And like, if I was even the stuff about like playing "You'll Never Walk Alone" at the training sessions because they wanted them to like get used to the intimidating atmosphere of Anfield or whatever. It's stuff that, like, I guess if you're not having it, because I don't play for them, so I can say, oh, come on. But all those players must buy into it. So they don't go, God, our manager's just a bit of a loon, isn't he? Like,
but even still, for me, they're the type of... I know obviously there was a period where he was getting documented, so it is very hard to keep certain things under wraps to an extent. But for me, they're the things where I'm like, those insider secrets never see the light of day.
Yes.
Because if they work, then we'll write a book about it. Do you know what I mean? And we'll tell everybody once it's worked. But while it's not worked and once it's not really brought any fruit of any of that labour, I wouldn't want anybody to know, because you're letting out all of your secret sauce. It's like, Colonel Sanders didn't let everybody know the freaking 11 secret herbs and spices that went into the chicken before he started making billions of pounds from KFC. Like, it just doesn't happen. So why he's doing it now and shooting his load now, it just seems strange to me. It just screams, you have to get results. You have to win, because you're only ramping up the pressure. Nobody's putting any external pressure on you.
Yeah.
You're doing it to yourself, almost.
Yeah, it seems almost performative to me, a bit like, oh, aren't we really clever here at Arsenal? Yeah. But they have got results, so this is why I'm like, I keep expecting like the bubble to burst and everyone's going, he's a bit of a whopper actually, isn't he? And like then that's a spread amongst the squad. But
it's going to happen. For me, it's this season's make or break for them. If Mikel Arteta isn't capable of guiding Arsenal towards silverware, what that looks like, I don't know. But if he's not capable of doing it on any level, I think Arsenal fans are quite resigned to the fact that, he seems to be the type of person that's only really going to go for the Champions League or Prem, which means he's ruling himself out of 2 domestic competitions. If he does that carelessly and then he's still a little bit short of a City and a Real Madrid, say, that whole thing again will come round, because at the end of the day, they will run out of patience, and they are quite an impatient fan base at the best of times, Arsenal fans. I know enough of them to be able to say that. I think the reality is Mikel Arteta has to find a way this season, one way or another.
I think there's still not quite an inferiority complex, but like when they played at Anfield around Christmas time, and they went 1-0 up for about 2 minutes from a header, and that was the one where Trent hit the bar and Salah scored that great goal, and it was 1-1. And after the match, there's a lot of Arsenal fans like, well, we always do terribly at Anfield. Great
Good
point.
result, yeah.
All that, and I get it.
Sorry to interrupt. Nunes is coming off. In 66 minutes, he's going to be replaced there, ladies and gentlemen. So Nunes just sees the best part of an hour, which means he's probably in line to be in the match day squad next week, and whether he starts or not is a different thing. But it looks like Harvey Blair is going to take his place. Tyler Morton's taking Cody Gakpo's place, and Amara Nailo is going to take Nathaniel Phillips' place.
Yeah, so very inexperienced looking Liverpool now.
As you were saying, mate.
But that was the difference with, and there were moments on that game, we came back into it when we, hit the bar with Trent and all. There were moments where we were really...
And we should have had a pen. Is that the one where they handball it and Odegaard's basketball in it?
There was Klopp, I feel like Klopp tries to go 2-0 and 3-0 there if you score after two. When we were the year City got 100 points, we knocked them out of the Champions League. Yeah. We were well inferior to them in the league. The 4-3 game where we went 4-1 up? Anyway, whatever. They were trying to go unbeaten, and where it's we're on top, bang, bang, it's killer blows.
Go for the jugular almost.
Basically, yeah. And I feel like it's just taking on this City. It's like trying to blow up the Death Star, isn't it? It's like
it's very precise in everything that you do.
It's a big job,
yeah.
And you can't pretty much nothing can go wrong at any point, or they just manage to overcome, So in terms of our kind of predictions, if you like, if something goes on with Arteta where maybe they lose a couple of games in the first 2-3 months, I don't know if it maybe. I'm kind of hoping like you, the squad might start thinking, oh, are we actually going to do it? And then they won't be as good as they were the last 2 years.
That was us, we had to eventually believe that we could, even when we was really close and we was a whisker away. We that was a wake-up call to say, yeah, we could do it. And I think the Champions League helped us do that because it made us winners in some sense. I think the fact that they haven't, how long can you just keep believing when someone says, you're good enough, you're good enough, you are good enough, and you're like, but I'm not getting the results of being good enough, so you're almost gaslighting me into believing I'm something that I'm not, and it will work for so long, but eventually that good faith will eventually start to wane a little bit, and then at that point, does the infighting start? Does there become a little bit of a disruption between the camp? The players start thinking, I'm better than this, start getting the head turned. All of those things could become possibilities, and the only way to really curtail that is to win, and you've got a very long season before you can be crowned Premier League winners. You've got a very long season before you can be crowned Champions League winners. So to keep everybody on side for another long season and give it that big push, I think that would be a massive test to his abilities as a manager. And if he was able to do it, I'd be highly impressed. Whereas at the moment, I'm just impressed. He's done well.
Yeah. That, I think, was one of the most remarkable things about our league title under Klopp was, after going so close, was it 98 and 97 points or whatever? Because it happened with Napoli a few years. They got 90 odd points and Juventus pipped them right at the end, and it's that was your chance. Well, they actually ended up going on winning it a few years later, but I just thought that's our chance. That we can't how'd you get 97 points and not
win a league? Yeah,
how did he go again? But they just did, and they were just
because he was in that mode. He knew he was in a groove that he knew what's expected at that point. And I think Arsenal were there last year, but the fact that he was able to get it over the line, I don't know if that takes something away from him. Because we've done it. We've been as consistent as we've ever been in the league for 2 years on the bounce, and it's still not been good enough. What more can we? And then you're looking and you're thinking, what extra firepower have we brought in? And you're thinking, we're going with the same players again. The same players last year weren't actually good enough. What makes you think that City are going to drop off significantly enough and we're going to improve enough to make a bit of a gap? I haven't seen signs that that's there yet for this Arsenal side. So my instinct is kind of leaning towards Arsenal struggling through periods this season. And I think, as you said, when we had that season 2 years ago, where within 5 games you kind of knew, you can kind of kiss the league goodbye.
So what you're saying here, live to all your Arsenal fan mates, is Arsenal are finished. Is that what you're saying?
More or less, yeah. He was finished before they even got started, half of them. But
that's going to get clipped up when they win the league, isn't it?
Oh, well, yeah. When they win the league. Oh gosh. Nah, I think they've been good, but on the whole, I still think they are a little.
They're like
bit
a
weak.
9 out of. They're like nearly everything you need. It's just that little extra bit, that killer instinct, like beat Liverpool at Anfield. Then,
Yeah.
like you got
Do
them
it.
on the ropes. They're 1-0 down after 5 minutes, and you didn't win the game. You know what I mean? Like that they were celebrating that 0-0 against City. Like, you know,
We've done
try and
something
beat City.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's hard. It's really, really hard, but you have to try and do it. Don't know what's going to happen with City. Like,
Unbelievable team, aren't they?
yeah, I just feel like as long as Guardiola's there, they'll hit the similar level of performance every year.
Every year. They've got the Premier headlock. But
Lovely
that's a great
ball by Elliot.
Oh, nice touch. Blocked by his own man.
Oh,
Fucking hell, that was flying in. I can say that because it got blocked by his own man. I haven't got a clue where the ball was ending up, but
one of the better bits of football of the afternoon from Liverpool.
Great ball outside the foot there from Harvey Elliott as well.
There's Doak now on the left-hand side.
He looked lively there as well. What have these young Reds got now as well? Because there's been some substitutes made there, ladies and gents. So it is a younger 11 that's on the pitch again. Harvey Elliott now, he's started to pull a few strings in midfield.
Yeah, I'm a big Elliott fan.
Is he a super sub for you, or is he a starter? Let us know in the chat as well. Is Elliott just put either super sub or starter? Let me know in the chat. Just those words.
I mean, he's only 20 or 21.
Yeah.
He's still such a young man. Maybe there's going to come a time, you know, if he was 28, he might say, look, I don't want to be on the bench for the rest of my life. Maybe there's going to come a time when if he's not starting all the time, then he gets a bit fed up. But he's still carving out a great career for himself. Did hit his own man there, didn't it? Unfortunately.
I've got a couple of people in the chat saying sub, super sub.
I wouldn't start him.
Robert says he's a starter though. Philip says he's a starter over Szoboszlai. Yeah.
Oh, chance
I
for
feel for
Bradley
Elliott
there.
and
Doak
Szoboszlai.
just had another nice little run there.
You've got a manager competition between each other. Elliott reads the game so well from the bench.
If I was playing the start in the Champions League final tomorrow, he wouldn't start. But I do think, he's got a skill set that none of the others really have. Just that cuteness and little balls. He started adding the bit of shooting into his game now, but you know, goals from outside the box, which is good. He scored the one against Fulham and then the great one against Spurs.
Oh, that's a lovely
nice touch by Doak.
Oh, he's done it again though. He's done that thing again, mate. Oh, play that. No, you need to play that. He's done that thing again where he's beat the first man and he's almost the goals in front of him, and he tries to drop his shoulder again and then runs into traffic. It's unlucky, but you make your own look in those positions as well, don't you? Bit cliche like, but you really do.
Yeah, frustrating. You know,
Tony Blakemore, Elliott lacks the pace to be top quality. I've seen Berbatov he had hardly no pace.
I know what you mean.
Quality player.
These are very high standards, but someone like an Iniesta or Bernardo Silva, like not big men, not fast, but that's, you know, if you can reach anything like their level, then
Santi Cazorla, David Silva. There's been a whole host of them, mate, that have absolutely ripped up the Premier League and made.
Oh, is that a pen?
No, brilliant careers for themselves. Ooh. No, the ref doesn't even put the whistle to his mouth or not, and he just let the game play on. No, but I do take your point there. There have been enough. And just Meme says, just by that logic, Firmino was shit.
There we go.
Yeah, that's another good point.
The UFC fighter ref wasn't having that there.
Yeah. This Canate is going well. Just thought he was going to go forward.
I was going to say that was one of them where you think, oh, make a forward pass. Endo's looks like he's getting the full 90 minutes. I'm sort of surprised Doak's getting the 90 minutes, but he's come into it in the last 10 or 15 minutes, though.
On the left-hand side, just that
not
switch
quite.
of flanks.
Scanlon did well, actually.
But he's been clipped on the way
heavy touch,
down.
but he bought the foul.
Pirlo had no pace. Go on and give us your best no pace players.
No pace 11.
No pace 11. Let's go for it. Come on. We've got a good... best part of 15 to go, guys.
Yeah, Berbatov's got to be in there.
Yeah, Berbatov for a no pace 11. If we're doing this for...
Do you want like a big Groch centre for? Well, I don't know. Is there any like big tall fella? Shearer wasn't really very quick, was he?
I'll be honest, my memory of Shearer is very limited because I was a pup.
Yeah, so my memory of him was probably over the age of about 29 and over. So he certainly wasn't quick when I was watching him, but maybe he was back in the day.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's got to be a
defensive. People saying Crouch. Yeah, maybe Crouch. Zola's in there.
Oh yeah.
Well, who else have we got? Yeah,
nice shout for Wes Morgan there.
Yeah, yeah. He's a Premier League winner as well.
He is a Premier League.
Reps the badge.
I was going to say,
reps the badge.
Steve McLaren's Reggae Boys.
Fucking hell.
No?
No, I'm not.
Not having it, no?
Not into that. I'm really not.
No?
I'm really not into that.
That's going to be one of the most tuned into press conferences that to
Oh,
see
yeah,
how his accent's doing, isn't it? It's there's been some fantastic memes.
See him at Carnival, you're going to see him at Carnival just winding out with a baddie just there, yo. Giving a dagger, okay.
Yeah.
I see you, Stevie.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Dennis Bergkamp, not a pace merchant.
Yeah. Him
and Berbatov would have some sauce, though, them two together up top.
Yeah. Just trapping ball, just doing ridiculous things, yeah. But if you watch Bergkamp's YouTube highlights, you're like, this is the best player ever. He obviously wasn't, in terms of like, it's not necessarily about all pure output, but just he was kind of getting on as well when I was a kid. I remember 98 actually, he scored that incredible goal against...
Sturridge had pace for days, he just wasn't fit. He'd run and fucking pull his hamstring, that was his problem. Sturridge used to look, he was rapid. Ibrahimovic, yeah. Ivanovic... as a fullback. Nah, Drogba had pace. Drogba had pace and power, mate. I'm sorry, I'm not having that.
I'm trying to think about centre. I feel like...
someone like John Terry and Harry Maguire.
Oh, yeah, John Terry, yeah.
Proper classic. Proper...
Terry Carragher. Centre-back
Carragher
pairing,
was on
maybe.
there as well.
I'm trying to think if someone like Jaap Stam was slow. I can't really remember. I feel like some of them big brute centre-halves mustn't have been that fast. We can't be having any like Brazilian left backs or right backs though, can we? For our slow 11, I don't know.
Absolutely not. We've got Neville Southall, Razor Ruddock.
And Southall, yeah.
Thiago Silva, he's not the quickest, but I think that's just the age thing. I think
we're
remembering him at like past his prime, but he's still been an excellent footballer.
When Chelsea signed him, I thought he's going to get absolutely roasted in the Premier League. But that just didn't happen. he's just that
held
good.
His own, yeah. Brilliant defender. Lucas Leiva. Yeah. There's a bit of a holding midfielder there. I could see that. Alonso wasn't quick. No, wasn't the quickest. What, Diane? I love you, Diane, because you normally spot on, but you're trying to tell me that Thierry Henry didn't have pace. I'm not buying that, girl. We used to have fucking Carragher on ropes, like it was just like every single time. There was never an occasion where Carragher must have just hated playing against him.
He's the best player I've seen in the Premier League. I think it's in terms of he'd score 30 goals, and a lot of them were belters.
Yeah.
Like a bit like Suarez. Get people who score. Like Matt Letizia used to score exclusively amazing goals, and great block by Canate.
And he just about does enough there. That was excellent block by Canate. Yeah. I think with all those suggestions in the chat, ladies and gents,
we haven't quite mapped the team out, but we've got a lot of great suggestions.
Yeah, you could easily do it.
I'm not sure about Weghorst though.
Veggie.
Nat Phillips. I don't. Yeah, this is maybe. Actually, no. Come on, get Nat in. The all-time.
Yeah, Nat next to John Terry.
Yeah.
It
He'd
could
do
work.
a job, wouldn't he?
It could work. Oh, you're just going to give away a foul there.
He didn't give a foul.
He didn't. Ref lets it play on.
Lenient.
Very much. How many likes we on there, Joe? Oh, you are slacking. 9 minutes, guys. Come on. Don't let us down now. Not in the first set of watch-alongs of the season. We need to set the bar. You know what's expected of you. This is not your first rodeo.
Because you think this is all a laugh, right? But when he gets into it, he cries in his car if he doesn't get his 1,000 likes.
You know.
He's crying about Steve McLaren's Reggae Boys, and he's not got his 1,000 likes.
Inconsolable about that fucking... How? But anyway.
I like that they shifted from Steve Bruce to Steve McLaren. It's like exclusively English banter managers.
Yeah,
like
well, I'd have just rather
Alan Pardew on the list as well.
I'd rather just had Steve Gerrard. If we're going to go for Steve's,
well, yeah,
pick the best fucking Steve for the job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, I reckon Gerrard would have loved Jamaica.
I was going to say.
He would have fucking loved Jamaica, Gerrard.
I could see, what's his wife called? Alex, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see getting involved in a few little resorts. I will go one day.
It's beautiful.
I've got to go.
Beautiful, beautiful land. Love me some Jamaica. The food. Steve Blue Clark McCarnival. That's great. Oh. Joanna Hill says, who's impressed you most this game? Guys, let us know in the chat who has been a standout performer, maybe potentially a man of the match. Anybody in particular? I will come to you, James. Who has been yours?
I think we picked out Konate in the first half. He's just made another nice little interception. I mean, it's fairly slim pickings. I don't think anyone's really stood out. I think Elliott's definitely done better in this second half.
I think Doak's looked better on the left.
Doak has definitely improved, second half. I think Elliott's probably my pick of the midfielders. Nunez, he had a Nunez game where if you don't like him, there's enough there to slate him, but he did enough where you're like, you're a dangerous player. Yep. So, which is like...
And I think if he's got the other two around him in a game like this, something happens for them as a result of what he's been trying to do, potentially.
So, it looks like Jota's his preferred man at number 9 for now, but we'll see how that pans out. Yeah, Elliott's definitely come into the... Jones, he's had some nice little moments. He's had some sloppy moments on the ball, Jones, which would be a bit frustrating for him because I know he's been full of praise for Arne Slot and he'll want to be impressing him.
Alvin says Kelleher for man of the match. Yeah, there's 2 good shouts there for some slow defenders. Socrates Kyrgios was up there, and Sebastian Coates.
Oh, yeah.
Both slugs. Both.
He managed to carve out a good career, wasn't he? He was playing for Sporting not long ago.
He was their captain, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah. He's obviously famous for one thing in a Liverpool shirt.
Overhead kick, that was brilliant.
Yeah, and then pretty much that was it.
That was it. But that's all she wrote. It would have been nice to see a goal. 5 minutes left to play. I don't think there'll be much in terms of added time either. There wasn't. I
wouldn't be chucking me life savings on a winner here, but you know, don't chuck your life savings on anything, guys.
Oh, they come away with it though.
Nallo fella,
it could be a winner. It might just not be for Liverpool.
Konate stands up.
Bodies, Konate again does really well, and Liverpool. There's another opportunity for that break now. Can Liverpool really click in this moment? Seem to be just running the ball wide. Don't really want to be going direct to goal. And Las Palmas are able to get men back in defence.
Decent turn by Ender, but he's lost. I kind of overplayed it.
And those China challenges are going to get you fucking hurt in the Premier League. That would have been looked like a good challenge, but the ref deems it not to be. Electra show, no, this will not go to pens. Oi, Tiny Buddha, that's a great shout. You know, we needed a winger. Ezekiel Lazevi.
Oh yeah,
PSG.
PSG. Mate,
he was a baller, didn't know, you know. Just had no pace, like the definition of no pace.
There was one.
I like that front three.
Yeah.
Levensi, Berbatov and Bergkamp also.
Oh, yeah.
Oui.
There was one Argentina squad where they had like him, Higuain, Messi, I think Di Maria. They had like 6 or 7 where you like pick
one.
Pick any of them.
Take
Aguero.
Yeah.
Remember
Ezekiel Levensi, yeah.
Maradona in 2010 took Martin Palermo. That was nice. He was about 36. Maradona took like 7 strikers to the World Cup because, of course, he did.
Alex TW says Jones looks sloppy at times, but he's been all right in the second.
Good ball there.
Oh.
Could be a goal.
Oh!
Nice.
That's a chance glaring. Yeah, Higuain was quite slow, him, Tahiti. He wasn't the fastest. But he put up some numbers for Real Madrid. Daniel, it is the new Jamaica home shirt, man. It's a fucking great t-shirt. It is. It's great.
Yeah, lovely.
Great tee. I'm feeling it. So we are happy with this. We got the shirt design right, even if we couldn't appoint the right manager. Got to take the rough with the smooth.
Was the guy, the previous manager's gone to Ireland now? Is that right?
I think so, yeah. I think we swapped over.
Oh.
Giroud, yeah, Giroud definitely would make it in a slow 11.
Yeah, very classy player. Always seems to do quite well against us as well. I seem to remember him scoring a few goals. Beckham, of course, yeah, Beckham. Carlos Valderrama, that's an old school shout from Philip Idu.
Van der Vaart, am I right in saying he didn't seem to be a big pacey?
No, he wasn't. Yeah,
See, there are quality.
There
are some quality players that played the game to a very high level and lacked an abundance of pace. Or is capable. There is a market there for Harvey Elliott. There is a niche that he can kind of fit.
Yeah, this hasn't been like an extended slagging off of the person who made that point. But you can, you just got to be very good. Someone like David Silva or Bernardo Silva, I think, would be
perfect examples.
Great comparisons, because both left-footed as well. But they've got to be so good on the ball to get away with that.
As we approach the 90th minute now, Liverpool again on the ball. I think, to be fair as well, I think possession-wise, it's been a lot better than the second half.
They've dominated the ball the second half.
Comfortably.
Yeah.
There was a
few last chance here.
Comfortable situations in the first half, but they've seemed to have got through those moments and look better for it, Liverpool. And I think this is another good exercise, another good 90 minutes where they've got minutes under the legs for a couple of players that are trying to make their way back into the starting 11 contentions. I don't think he'd be displeased with what he saw, especially given the way the whole day's played out. Maybe a better quality team does punish us, but again, Liverpool have got the opportunity to play a better quality 11, if we want them to take games seriously. So there is no discouragement to be had. Arne Slot's second game of the day finishes 0-0 against Las Palmas. He's a lot more cool, relaxed in his casual gear, probably in a way that we kind of approached the second game. Maybe it didn't seem to be that same level of intensity in there, but a very well thought out day, really. The way the day's played out, it's been very well done by Liverpool. All players that have been involved in both sets of games. I think the manager will be particularly happy. I think there are some key takeaways, especially from the first game. I think there are a few more takeaways, probably not as many in the second game, but I think on the whole, I think Arne Slot would be happy. What do you think, James?
Yeah, everyone's got to run out, which I think first and foremost. I mean, it wasn't a classic. They had some decent moments. Robertson hit the post. I think he'd be pleased with the way some of those little link-up moments from Elliott. It's all little. I don't know if he's looking for massive results from this game, or if it was more about fitness, more about seeing everyone.
I think it was just an added bonus to be able to squeeze it in before Saturday, to be honest.
Stoke looked threatening at points, especially in the second half. I don't think. I don't know if he's learned loads. I feel like he's definitely got. You can see why the players who were in the first game are in that position. Maybe Robertson comes back in for Simicast. Maybe there might be one change somewhere else potentially. I think probably have Kanate as man of the match, or he didn't look out of place. He looks. I mean, you couldn't say back to his best because it wasn't exactly a massively stern test, but he dealt with everything that he needed to deal with. Gakpo there on the screen now, maybe didn't really get many shots off. Maybe could have expected a bit more from him.
But I say that we are now at a point where there is a long season ahead. There is a lot of football to be played. It's been an opportunity now for Arne Slot over the last 3 or 4 weeks to have a look and a good assessment of all of those players. We already know that there is movement in the transfer window from Liverpool in terms of outgoings. We're all hoping to see some incomings as well in the next couple of days, maybe week or two. And I think he will be, on the whole, as pre-season, as far as pre-seasons go, for the most part, all players are match fit. Yeah. All players are back. They're all there, wrapped up, ready to go and take on Ipswich when the Premier League starts next week. And I think he will be very pleased and be very positive. I mean, he may be a little bit buoyant that he does feel like he's got a squad fit for purpose and capable of really challenging the better teams. Not say let's go for City. Let's say we've got to challenge the better teams in this league, and there are a couple of them at the moment that have shown over the last 2 years that they, on their day, are really formidable and difficult to beat. So I think from that perspective, I think he will be happy that the major players that he's got are all fit for purpose. They've all bought into what it is that he's asking and expecting of them. So going forward, hopefully now, this can be the foundation and the kickstart for Liverpool to really start with going into the season with confidence and belief that as far as preparations go, he's ticked every single box that he could have possibly wanted. So we've got to be happy with that as fans. And hopefully now, I think the only other thing that is left to do is kind of do some business in the transfer window, and that will complement what seems to be a very well-oiled squad.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if, say, he was told you can't sign anyone, I don't think he'd be like, this is a disgrace. I think he'd be quite happy working with the players that he's got, even if a couple leave. But I do think they could, if they brought a Zubimendi in, I'd maybe like to see one in every position, like one centre-back, or there was a little chat about Ait Nouri the other week. I'd like that. I think maybe as possible succession planning for Robertson. And if they did one attacker, one midfielder, one defender, I'd be happy with that. All good players. Loan out some of the young lads. It's been a really good pre-season for, considering he's had a lot to deal with. He's had players off on internationals. He's had the Euros. He's had people coming back at different times. He's not. If it was a different year that Jurgen had left and it was just a normal year with no tournament, he could have had a full summer of everyone's back on day one. I'm drilling my system into, he's like,
is that to be a phase?
Trent's only been back a couple of days, and we've got Ipswich next week. So,
and he's already creating assists for Jota.
Yeah.
So it's picked up where he's left off in that sense, and I think you're right. Really, I think he obviously, in terms of the preparation, he's done as best as he could given the resources and tools he's had available to him. Obviously, we'd all like to see the additions, but again, that's above his pay grade. Ultimately, someone else has got to press the green light on that for us. But we're here all season to keep you covered. The lads and girls are down in the Anfield as well, so they might have some content going up across YouTube over the course of the next couple of hours. So keep your eyes peeled to that. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. This is the new studio setup, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be here more often, so please get used to seeing this setup because this set looks amazing. Please, please, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel because I can guarantee you this is going to be a blockbuster season for Liverpool one way or another. I am Errol Smith. This is James Cranford. We have been your hosts for today's watch along, and we will see you again soon. Bye for now.